Alright guys, here it is. This is the paint job that I decided to go with on my 16-foot Jon Boat. It went through a bunch of different phases before getting to this color, so we'll go ahead and talk about all the phases it went through and why it went through it and my original plans for the entire paint job. Started off with a palm sander and 150 grit sandpaper, and this was doing really good, especially on the flat areas of the boat, and it was working much better than I thought it would. Till I got to the areas that were not flat and I couldn't use the palm sander. I had to use the angle grinder with wire wheels, and this ended up being much better to use than the sandpaper. So I ended up going over everything I did with the sander with the wire wheel. After the boat was down to the bare aluminum, we used some acetone and a rag to wipe off all the debris. Make sure everything was 100% clean and that I didn't miss any spots with the angle grinder. And I went over the whole thing with an aluminum primer. I had to do a little bit of research on this before I bought it. And I mean, that's exactly what it's for, bare aluminum. The other thing I liked about this was that it was white. If you use this as a primer, your base coat is already going to be white. It's really going to bring out whatever color you decide to go with, which is why this apple red gloss turned out so well. Like this looks so good on the boat, but I could not get over having a red boat for some reason, so I didn't want to keep it red. Originally, I wanted to do a design like this. Okay, I basically wanted to have like this red snakeskin look over the boat. To do this, you need some type of laundry bag. I found these at Walmart and they did not work, mainly because the comb shape is just too small. It just didn't look right on the bigger boat. So I went and bought one of these Fabril little plastic fishnet to get that look. So imagine this, the boat's red, I'm trying to get this look. Now all I have to do is get this net to sit close enough to the boat so that the design can be sprayed on top of it. And that's where the issues came in with this. As you can see, I took the regular net, I cut it in half, bent it out a little bit, and tried to stretch this netting as tight as I could to both sides. That way I could just hold this thing up to the boat and then spray, move on, spray. When I did this, I could never get this net to sit close enough to the side of the boat for the impression go through after you sprayed it. So I even went and bought a bunch of magnets to try to keep this thing as close and as tight to the boat as possible. The magnets didn't keep it close enough. Nothing was working. So I kind of had to rule this design out. I had no way to do it. So what I decided to do, which saying out loud right now, I know sounds absolutely stupid. I took a spray bottle of water, I went around the whole boat, got little droplets everywhere, and then came back through with this gloss black paint and sprayed the entire boat over the water droplets. Now, in theory, what this is supposed to do when the water droplets dry, it's supposed to peel back some of the black, and then you'd be left with a black boat with red little dots and little watermarks everywhere, which looks cool on some textures, but that's not what happened on this boat. After I sprayed it with the black, the water never evaporated, so I just had a bunch of pockets of water in my paint, which you don't want. So I had to go back over the entire boat and pop every little bubble and dry the boat out and make sure everything was gone through that paint. And that's where I probably should have just went back with the wire wheel and cleaned off the entire boat, because now I'm left with that texture of the dry bubbles everywhere. So once all the water was out of the paint, I was down to just a gloss black paint job with a little bit of weird texture in it. I sprayed down the area that I wanted to logo out with this flat black, went over it with the masking tape, hand drew the designs in both sides. Both the Fireants are hand drawn. That's why they don't look exactly right on both sides, but I'm okay with that. It's not gonna be perfect. Once I had my logo taped out, I went over the whole boat in this gloss khaki. And that's how we got the final color of the boat. Once that was dry, we peeled off all the tape and we're left with the logo that we have on here now. Then obviously we had to put the boat numbers back on the side of the boat, so I went and bought some stencils, some little 3-inch stencils. That's how I got the numbers spray painted on the side of the boat. Also did these in a flat black.